Well, got some bad news. The doctor cut herself while stitching you, and she bled into you unknowingly.
What? What's up, guys? Today's guest is a professional freerunner turned co-owner of the WFPF. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Mr. Robbie Corbett. What's up, Robbie?
Everything's good, man. Thanks for having me. Dude, stoked to be here.
I love giving Robbie these intros because back in the day, he used to tell me he wanted me to be the Joe Rogan of parkour when I did parkour hosting. So
that's very true. Eh? I still do.
So here we go, full circle. Welcome to the show, Robbie.
I guess I meant it in the commentating live announcing version. But you know, all assets are great. Everything is. I can't wait to see you on the stand-up stage. I guess
that's what's funny, man. Yeah, it's like I remember it was back when I was doing all the commentary, but now I eat elk snacks and I have a podcast. So.
Oh, and you were the host of MTV's Ultimate Parkour Challenge, so you did get, it's like his Fear Factor.
Exactly.
Kind of
you know what I'm saying? I just made way less money and we got canceled.
Well, I mean, if you look into the fine details, yes. It's different. But
Joe Rogan is living the dream, man. I would give anything to trade spots with him. He gets to commentate UFC, host a podcast interviewing interesting people, and just gets to be himself, like no veil up,
No, that guy definitely has the definition of fuck you money. I mean, he talks about anything he wants. He does pretty much whatever he wants. Luckily, he's just a good dude, because imagine if he,
And it's crazy. I've gone backwards to watch some of his podcasts, and he didn't start that long ago. And some of his early ones are super ghetto. It looks like in a living room. Horrible lighting, you could barely see his shadow and silhouette, and to see where now he averages a couple million views per video. We were talking about just watching, hey, did you watch the Kevin Hart one? Did you watch the Herb Dean one?
Yeah. I mean, luckily, the weird thing, I've known of Joe Rogan forever. I knew of him as a stand-up because I remember somebody playing it. My friend Alex was just he was big into stand-up, and I like to laugh, so I would pay attention to it. And this is high school for me, early high school, so 2000 to 2002, and he was playing it, and it was pretty. He was talking about the only thing he learned in college was avoid hookers with walkie-talkies, and I was like, who is this? And the voice sounded familiar, and I was like, who is this? He's like, it's Joe Rogan. I'm like, why do I know the name? He's like, the guy that hosts Fear Factor, and I kind of knew a Fear Factor, so I was like, that guy, man. This is kind of not dark, but different than Fear Factor. And then sure enough, I think it was somebody, obviously then I got into mixed martial arts watching that, and I saw that he was the host of that, and I was like, man, this guy's a monster. And then it turned into, I got turned on one of his podcasts forever ago, just because I went down one of those rabbit holes of 9/11 and the Rothschild stuff, and I got turned on to one that he did with a guy, Michael Rupert, who did a really good documentary about peak oil. Okay. And I remember watching that podcast, first time I ever watched it, I'm like, this is weird, because I think the thing that seemed weird to me is that it didn't feel weird, even though I'm just watching two guys talk clearly in a room that are just talking to each other, and I'm like, I thought when I initially heard of podcasts and what it was that I'd be feeling like a fly on the wall in somebody else's conversation, but the more I listened to it, the more I was like, well, this is way better than watching Oprah, where it's just this, bringing in this X factor every time and scream, and you get gifts and you get a car and shocking, this was it was shocking what they were talking about, but it was so calm and it was so drawn out, and it just seemed so real to where, I mean, and I think that was back in, number 200 something, quite a while ago. So
he's up there now. He started the MMA ones. He has the regular ones.
As he should be.
I'm just waiting for Kanye.
He should be.
I really love I really love his format because it just seems like two friends that are just chatting and catching up, and that's pretty much what today's going to be like. Because I haven't seen you in quite some time. You just recently moved to New York, of all places.
Yeah, Manhattan.
How is the Big Apple compared to the city in LA?
Very different. I mean, I sometimes I put myself in a situation where I'm like, man, do I give myself too much credit, because it was one of those things. I was just super busy last year, and the opportunity arose to go, to move there. And I was like, you know what? I've done LA. It's coming up on that 10-year mark. I wasn't planning on moving to New York, but it was a great situation for my girlfriend. And I felt like, I've always heard that if you can make it in New York, you make it anywhere. I've heard the LA one as well. If you can make it in LA, you can make it anywhere. And I was always just more attracted to LA because I'm from Florida. So I moved to LA 10 years ago. And it seemed like not a slump by any means, but it seemed like one of those things where it's like, wow, I wonder if I could do New York. And obviously, there's pros moving there with my girlfriend and getting to develop that. But at the same time, how the schedule worked out was, well, we moved there December 1st, and I was like, eee.
Ooh, winter.
Winter. So yeah,
Real winter.
I waited till I moved there to get winter clothes and all that kind of stuff. But literally just came back here to LA on the 3rd, and it was about the week before that I could see spring. And I think this is the first time I've been in a place where I've literally got to see spring in the sense of, I've traveled a lot for work, so I've been in places to where they're like, we're in spring now. I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. Or they're like, this is winter. I'm like, this sucks. But I've never really spent so much time at one where I went the whole winter, and like the day spring hits, you get this feeling.
You see
of
the turn. Yeah.
You see the turn. It's the most minute to where it's like, oh, those pots with just dirt aren't just massive ashtrays like I thought. Oh, there's stuff growing out of that. The gray things are looking a little more vibrant now. Oh, like I see some green in that. The whole
world basically has seasons. LA, we have summer and not summer, where it's just like hot as hell or a little less hot. But
and I'm from Florida, where I would say it's worse than LA because there's not mountains where you're like, oh, I see snow.
Totally.
We don't even have that. You hear like, oh, northern Florida, there's snow, but you're like, yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
There's no snowboarding going on. There's no hills. So
yeah, totally.
Who cares?
Now, one of the advantages I know of heading to New York, at least, is that some of the other co-founders, or I guess you could say like headquarters for WFPF, would be essentially located out of New York, right? So what is your current involvement with the WFPF? And for those out there listening that aren't sure what that acronym means, it stands for the World Freerunning and Parkour Federation, and it is a global organization. I was a sponsored athlete back in the day. So yeah, what's your involvement with it now?
Well, I'm a co-owner. I started out about 8 years ago as just an athlete, much like you. On the MTV show, I was assistant stunt coordinator as well as a course runner, tester type thing. And after that, just kept developing the relationship in different ways. So I do a lot of things. Kind of a jack of all trades to some degree, with either the certification aspect of it. So we have an internationally recognized certification that I've helped develop with other core athletes, and we've certified 900 people around the world. We're about to be launched in a bigger status in the UK as well as Portugal. And we have insurance backing in the UK now, as well as in Canada and the US. So in that way it's growing, but internationally recognized. So we've done them in Thailand. We've had people come from all over the world and do them where we've hosted them, but those are just the ones that have our trainers there that can host there instead of people coming to and from.
So what does an actual certification entail? This is people getting certified so that they can be recognized officially as coaches?
Yeah, so it depends to a few scales. We have online ones that help assistant instructors, which they would work underneath somebody that's certified. The certification itself that comes in is a 3-tier that breaks up our 8-level curriculum that we offer out to anybody who wants to do a WFPF Academy, it's called, which allows them to host competitions, host jams, and teach this curriculum, with the idea that as we do competitions and it keeps growing, we can hopefully get out of this age-based competition of having people at certain ages competing and more understanding their band level, similar like martial arts, to where the age will still be there to a degree, but it'll also be there, a level 7, green band, and the other person that's in that same age category is a purple band, which could be level 8. So you just have an idea of already how to judge them basically in the competition format and whatnot, of what skills they're about to be kind of bringing to the table.
Okay, so let's break it up for the layman that's out there. So you're running certifications to teach people a curriculum that can then allow them to be an official certified gym within your recognized system.
Correct.
Okay.
And,
so I think
and
that's
the gym itself then can qualify for insurance and things like that.
Okay. So let's just tackle one at a time. So a certification that happens, how long are the certifications and what does it entail during that time period?
Certification to be a certified parkour and freerunning instructor, which is what is needed to qualify for insurance in the US, is a 3-day certification. It's 2 days of full-on extensive curriculum and the last day of testing, which really is the idea to take you from ground level skills, then incorporate the obstacles, and then learn how to teach progressively through that. So instead of just being like the common YouTube, what I call demonstrator, that just shows a wall flip and says how they do it, it's more instead about you being able to look at the individual and give them exercises, drills, skills to get them familiar with the obstacle, and then get them to be able to safely throw the skills for the first times and get a good feeling until they master it.
Totally. And the people that are taking these certifications, what's their level of parkour expertise? Do you have to be an expert and already have all of the curriculum moves like in your repertoire, so to speak?
No, it's very similar to, I think, every other certification I've taken, to where really enables the grassroots basics as much as possible, and then shows you how those basics build upon themselves, and has you leave with a strong foundation of where to start with your students and make sure what they have, as well as now you know what the next thing coming is. So if you do have students that show up to your gym that were already key athletes at other sports and might be able to progress way fast, can already do certain tricks and things because they've seen them online.
Like a gymnastics coach.
Like a gymnastics coach, a football. Like we've had a lot of soccer players. You know, I've taught parkour for, you know, like I said, over 10 years. We've had soccer players come in that could just pick it up real well. We've had track and field stars that are really good, rock climbers really good. So the idea is to see what they already kind of have, but because you know how the curriculum works and the basics, you'd be able to see what they're missing. So the idea would be you'd be able to plug in with exercises, progressions, things like that. You'd be able to help fix whatever kinks they're missing maybe to make them more well-rounded and also safer with whatever they are doing. So, you know, for years I did parkour and free running just by doing it and feeling it, but it's important once I met certain coaches or people that knew things that gave me tips, it now made it to where it's like, oh, that's how I fix this little thing that I don't know if I ever would have on my own, or I wouldn't have understood. You know, I'd look at certain skills and be like, man, I could never do that. But that's just because somebody wasn't there to say, well, do this part first. Yeah. Now build on that. Now build on that. And here you go. So that's more the idea. It's just to help people be a smart, safe, progressive instructor, not necessarily a master of parkour themselves.
Okay. And are there varying levels of the certification, or is there just one level?
Yeah. So there's the 8-level curriculum for the students, which we have broken down. So the first 3 levels would be the parkour certification, covers the first 3 levels in that curriculum. The free running is next, which covers levels 5 and 6 in the curriculum. And then there's advanced skills that covers the remaining 3 levels.
Okay, so there's like 3 separate certifications.
Correct.
Okay, so that makes sense that someone that may not be as skilled technically could probably do the basic one, but maybe take some time before they move on to the other ones.
And the idea is, you know, it's kind of teaching the alphabet and then teaching them how the letters make words, and then eventually make sentences, and then you're writing novels. But I don't expect people to leave in 3 days and be able to write, you know, an Amazon published book. It's not the goal. It's the idea of planting the seed, make sure they know where to start from, you know, and then from there they know how to build. Or if they're working with people that are better than them, they still need to maybe see where the corrections are or help those students, because now they know the next skills to give to those students.
Totally. And the main benefit of being a certified instructor, you kind of said, leads into being, I guess, having insurance backing. Is that correct? Well,
I mean, you probably want that as a business owner, yeah, especially if you're in the US or Canada, which is where we've done the most of them. In the UK, the insurance is slightly different. So some people just want to have it because it's a little different over there, and they just want the knowledge that comes with the certification.
Yeah.
Some also like it because they themselves just are, you know, we've had a lot come from CrossFit. We've had a lot come from personal trainers that just like to be well established in different kinds of movements and different things, and take and have and introduce that into their clientele, so they can now implement more parkour into their personal training and things like that. They're not trying to create, you know, ilabakas per se of free running, but they still want to dabble in it. They want to understand certain things, and they also understand that those skills could be beneficial to their businesses.
Okay, totally. And do you guys provide insurance, or is this insurance through third-party providers?
Third party, so that we just work with insurance providers that take our certificate, that will accept people that have our certification. Recognize, there you go, that's the word.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So like what we're doing in the UK is I personally haven't spoken with any insurance companies over there. There's 3 gyms we're doing the certifications at, and they all have different connections. The big thing is our certification is recognized by the International Training Certification Program. So they supersede any national governing body or anything like that. So any insurance company that would recognize our certification, because it's technically backed by the international certifiers.
Yeah, like globally.
Globally,
yeah.
Okay. So that's how that's worked there. I personally don't touch the insurance thing at all or anything like that. I don't sell it. I don't get a piece. I personally don't have it. I don't own a gym myself that I run personally. I used to teach at a few gyms, but I'm just too busy with the traveling now and doing this part that I just can't promise the time.
Yeah, understood.
So that's what we're just trying to help, you know, the businesses or the individuals have, you know, some kind of paper backing from a bigger official that hopefully allows them to get more opportunities with themselves to grow. Okay,
cool. And then what's another aspect of the company then? So you help run the certifications, and then what would be the other side?
There's equipment. So we own 2 equipment lines. One is integrated obstacles, which is all portable interconnecting blocks and bars that just all connect, and you basically like I call them like playground style Legos. You can just kind of build and progress in that way.
It's all like a modular style equipment where you can just do it yourself. And
yeah. And then there's pop-up parkour, which is the one that we develop more for like schools, small kids, small spaces, to where literally the blocks themselves don't have bolts or screws. They literally just build together a certain way, and they're built in the configuration to where once they're standing, however you hit them from that thing, it technically tightens them.
Okay.
So there is no bolts or screws, and every single block or obstacle will break all the way down to just a 6-piece of plywood pallet. So very easy to go to and from events, set up in the backyard, bring in at the end of that day, bring out to whatever event, put on a show, put it back away.
And is this stuff available to consumers across the country, worldwide?
Worldwide. I mean, the only tricky thing is shipping, because certain places have different shipping laws. I mean, we've shipped to Australia, we've shipped to the UK, we've shipped to Saudi Arabia from the US, where it's mainly manufactured. Actually, when I'm going out to the UK, it's to talk to a manufacturer about getting somebody in the ground there.
Cool.
Since we do own the blueprints and the designs ourselves, we just work with core manufacturing here in the US. That's been very good for us.
Yeah.
So with that, we've done high-level competitions all the way up to, we've had certain gyms that have had the same equipment set up for 3.5 years and haven't had to buy more. They've been able to adjust their setup. So like there's an Instagram that we have, which is Parkour Equipment. And there's a gentleman there out of Texas who's on like setup 63, I think.
Nice.
Every other week he changes it around in his gym, and he posts a video of it, and I try to share them and whatnot on the Instagram. And so it's just cool. That was the idea, just to help, not be stuck in that box. Because I've been in a lot of gyms from the ground up when they go really big in. They spend $100,000 designing something that then they find out, well, there's not really a progression in here for that, or this doesn't work, or we've kind of maxed this out.
Once you hit all the challenges.
And then it's like, well, what do? You got to pull it up out of the ground. You got to get permits too if it goes in the ground. So I was trying to find this way of allowing it towards like, well, you have, the beginner students coming in that only do levels 1 through 3 for this next hour. So everything can be, these are the sizes and the jumps. And then the next group's coming in, and we can scoot them this way and this way and this way. And we just need a little more space. And now we have it set up for more advanced.
And can you buy stuff as an individual consumer, or do you have to be a gym with insurance?
No, sells to anybody. Yeah. So integratedobstacles.com or popupparkour.com. All the stuff's there. And we have a few kits, like things that we recommend, like here's a starter pack.
Yeah.
Here's the medium pack, stuff like that. And then it's just also individual. There's also like, you can get custom paint. You can get, we work with wood obstacles. And some people are like, oh, I'd rather have like a padded option for my students, whatever. There's actually pads that you can buy if you want the padded option that just Velcro and snap on.
Cool.
So when they jump, they hit to the Velcro padded on mat that's super stable. And then when they're ready, you just take that mat right off. And now they're going to the more realistic obstacle that they're probably going to find once they leave your gym.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. No, that's really, really cool. I think that just having the accessibility to that for people around the world, it's something where back in the days you'd have to try to build yourself, or find a buddy that knows how to build stuff.
Well, that's where it came from. We'd go find a location. I'm like, man, if this was just like a 1.5 feet smaller, I could do so much more here. But so then you find yourself on Google Maps, or, I call the parkour goggles. I'm just driving around, and, in LA, you obviously can't drive fast because there's so much traffic. So you're just driving, you can be a little bit more looking around, and I'd see, oh, that's that. But now it's like, that's like the small version, and then the one at UCLA is like the medium version, and the one in Santa Monica is the large version. But in my mind, I was like, man, if there was just, a gym or a way that you could do that, it would help so much more. And that was kind of the idea and the thought. And then also obviously competitions, to where it's like, well, we want kids, and then we're gonna have adults, in the evening. And it's like, well, it'd be sweet not having to have them do the exact same course. We could manipulate it a bit to where also maybe, it's whatever you designed for your freestyle round here. Now when we do the speed, it's going to be a different course, and that allows for, the one that the freestyle benefited this guy, but now the speed's might benefit these guys, and you have to do this adapting thing, which is cool.
It's cool being able to have, the ability to move stuff around, because that's what parkour is at a fundamental level, is the ability to adapt on the fly. So you should be able to at a competition level. And that kind of brings us into like the third thing you do over there, which is heading up to competitions, right?
To a degree, yeah.
Okay.
So we own World Parkour Championship, and what we basically did with that was a massive internationals competition last year on a 800-year-old mosque out in
Turkey?
We were in Turkey. I'm trying to think of the city exactly. Mardin, Turkey. Okay. There you go. So we did that, as well as we did this year with USA Parkour, which is a nonprofit that hired out WFPF as a event coordinator. We did 10 qualifiers for competitions across the U.S. in 10 different states, and then there was the national championship that happened in Tampa, Florida.
Okay, cool.
So from that, at the grassroots gyms that hosted the competitions, if you took third place, you got a third off your entry and your space reserved into the final national championship. If you were second, you got half off, and if you were first, you got free ride into it.
Okay.
And then, you know, with the idea that all those greats from around the U.S. and all those different states then get to, you know, go against each other at the national level on a different course with a, you know, slightly similar gameplay.
And those competitions were all held at gyms within your certification system?
No, some of those have done certifications.
Okay.
Some did certifications for the first time, like the week leading up to it. And then, no. So some were like our academies, our WFPF academies, but then there was like Steel City Parkour. They're not an academy of ours. And I called up Steve over there and was like, hey, man, I mean, to me, you're the guy that runs Pennsylvania. I'm not trying to, you know, put you on a pedestal, or maybe I don't know, but you're dope. I love what you do with your gym. Do you guys maybe want to hop in this thing? And he said, absolutely. And that, you know, we helped find him some judges that he felt, you know, would understand the gameplay and everything. And he had one of the biggest comps as far as numbers and stuff like that. So, you know, anybody that's really down, we reached out to quite more, but it was just, you know, it's a new thing. So some were like, we're not sure, or we already have our own comp, or we want to see how it plays out. And then the national itself, you know, a lot of people came out that weren't able to make it to a qualifier because we only had 10 states that were down. Yeah. So some people just came to the national and had to just pay more, or the space wasn't necessarily reserved. They had to make sure they reserved a space, and they hopped in, and we did it that way too. Awesome. And who ended up winning the national? Bailey Harder, actually. Okay. We actually featured him on the Jam Breakdown. So yeah, I think we saw his runs. That was insane. I met him. I helped do the Austin, Texas at Intrepid Parkour one, and I had a few talks with him. I did not know him, and I helped design actually Intrepid Parkour a few years ago, and really have helped them a lot, and they've helped me, WFPF, a lot with partnering on different things with a gym from literally the ground up, like the building wasn't even built yet, to help them with curriculum, to help them put on the first competition, helped with equipment design, help with promoting, stuff like that. So, you know, they have a good place in my heart, and I was there for this qualifier, emceeing it, and I got to meet Bailey, and he, what we did there was you got 2 freestyle runs. So if you did your first one, you didn't get to know your score, but if you wanted, you could do another one after everybody went. Oh, like if you and we would just keep the highest score, but you didn't get to know what your score was, so you had to choose. And just the highest score, it wouldn't. If you did the second one, you didn't get your first score. Yeah. You know, we didn't do that. But he did his first one, and I remember I think he did 3 dubs, so backflips, or not backflips, but flip with a double twist. Totally. And I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. I mean, the run's up. We've shared it on USA Parkour because it was still great, but he kind of messed up on one of the dubs on the first run. I mean, did it, but just wasn't perfect. So when, you know, 30-something people signed up for that comp, that freestyle, so when it finally came around to him again, you know, we just gave him the look. We're like, you doing it? And he had this smile, and I was like, this guy's a perfectionist. Like, and I don't, you know, this guy's chasing it. And I didn't know him, never heard of him. He was newer. I think it was his first competition. I was like, but this guy's got it, you know, no matter what, like, because he's in a good place. Like, you could just tell with his first run, he's in a good place, but he's competing against him, which is what I always recommend. He's not competing about anybody else. He wasn't happy with that run. Yeah. He wouldn't live with himself with that run. He's going again, which was dope. So he did it, and he busted it even better, and he placed even higher. I think he was second or third. If I'm incorrect. That's an interesting format where you have the ability to redo it, because some would argue that, like, you should get one shot, and then that's how it is. Like in an MMA match, you get one shot. Yeah, we're not that. We're not 2 dudes fighting, you know. I don't think we're the same. When I go to if I was going to go hop in an octagon, you better believe I'm not like, well, I'm just here to improve Robbie, win, lose, or whatever. As long as I get better, I'm like, I'm going to try to murder this dude because that's different. When I competed, I competed the first Art of Motion in the U.S. and I had an injury and everything. I remember just flying there and being like, I need to do this for me. Like, I envied everybody else there. I was friends with everybody else there. I did not care to win. I didn't care as long as I beat this guy, I'll be happy. I didn't think of any of that. I just was there because I wanted to compete and I wanted to do the best I could do. And I think that's an option in our competitions that I think is cool, to where it allows for a very community feel of competition compared to an aggressive kind of competition of me versus this guy. I don't really ever feel that at any WFPF comp that we've ever done, or Art of Motion that I've ever helped at, or just any competition that I've just witnessed or whatever. And that's the beauty, I think, of this sport, is it's still even, I mean, you can if you want. Like the best in the world that I know don't say, you know, they don't show up and say, oh, as long as I beat this guy or that guy. The people that are way better than I've ever been and better than 90% of the people I've met, they don't act like that, and they're podiuming. So there's something to it, to where it's like, oh, okay, so they just show up and they just want to impress themselves.
And I guess if you're good enough and you're going to win, you could just do your run once and still win.
Yeah, well, I mean, motocross does it this way. So like when they do the big air, or skateboarding does it this way.
It's like in half pipe, you get two shots.
So there's other ones that do it. And, you know, obviously team sports is a little different because, you know, a team member can mess up, but I understand that's part of the team. Like in, you know, I look at cheerleading as a sport, you know, I do. And I was the first male cheerleader in my high school growing up, by the way. I didn't compete or anything, but I always looked at it. And I was a wrestler in high school too, which I liked more because I didn't have to do this team thing. But I see the team thing, and I understand not giving a team maybe another reason, because that's part of the thing. Everybody's got to be on their game because they're relying on each other. But for me with the parkour, it's like, you know, nobody's perfect, but let's give them another run, you know, and it's a choice, you know, and rarely have I actually seen with, you know, the dozens of competitions we've ran that somebody does like significantly better the second time. You know, sometimes it's normally obvious if they do, because the first time they just go out and they feel. They just do it and they get the jitters out and they don't go hard. And then there's the people that just go hard the first time and get it over with. And then they wait and feel, and then they say yes or no. But most people that do it second time, they just do that first one as just a gauge. And then the second one is like connecting it all. You know, it's a walkthrough.
It's very interesting because like I've definitely, as a host for Red Bull and being on the sidelines for Art Emotions, I've definitely seen runs where if a guy had a second chance, he would have made it to the finals. Like I remember last year, defending champion Bart, you know? He literally was killing his run, hit a double cork, and he just slipped. And you could tell right on the takeoff, like, oh, crap, he looks a little off. Sure enough, he slipped, didn't even make it to the finals. His final run was insane. And I've seen DK one year also, same thing. Like, if he had gotten to do a second run, he would have won, but he got eliminated first run. So I can see the merit to it. I guess some formats... I guess there's it depends who's in charge. Red Bull, I think, probably for the sake of time, doesn't allow the second run because they're doing a full live stream, so it could probably double the time. But I do see the benefit to it. In my personal opinion, and I wanted to ask you about this, especially with all the talks about parkour eventually going to the Olympics and all this stuff. I don't know if it really will or not. I personally think that if we do take it to that route, that I think we should follow a lot of the formats of other comps right now, which is like the speed-based competitions. And I know you guys include that as well in your comps. Personally, I'm becoming like the biggest fan of these because like to me, it's the coolest way to really like judge someone without putting in the element of bias or personal opinion. Because I think that's one of the hardest things that we've seen in a lot of these competitions is the judging scale. Can get thrown off and it's also open for interpretation.
To be fair, that's in any sport. What I mean,
it's any sport that's judged.
Well, I just heard on the radio, so I mean, obviously it's fact, but I didn't get to hear the whole thing because it was on the radio, and it's not something glorious like YouTube where I can just
go backwards.
Go back. Oh, let me see what he said before this. But and I meant to look more into it, but you just reminded me of this. Honestly, I didn't have this like in my back pocket or nothing. But they did playback and research a certain company and found out last year over 4,000 calls in the MLB were incorrect.
I saw something on that too. Totally.
And that's the umpires and the whatevers and all that stuff. So it's like, you know, and UFC has it too, where you see like, oh, the judges saw it a different way. So to me, there is a bit of this luck, or, you know, on the day, the judge type thing and stuff. And I think it's, and I'm not saying it's perfect. I don't think any competition is perfect. I mean, you could go to any other sport. It's very similar. I mean, let's even go to an off sport. Let's go to poker. And it's like, well, that guy just got those cards. That's not fair. They didn't get the same hands.
Totally.
You know, so I mean, it's certain things to where every sport has that to some degree. And I do think the speed is a more fair judge and a more distinctive. And I think by going into the freestyle, you just have to accept that it's not perfect yet. But what do I think will make it perfect is doing more of them and really fine tuning it. Because like our competitions haven't been the same. Where some people are like, I don't like WFPF competitions. Like, well, which one? And if they say just one, it's like, well, it's very likely that, you know, there's been a different gameplay since that we've dabbled in, tried, tested, fine-tuned, tweaked, which that's all we've been doing. Much like I think free runners do, to where it's like, you know, I did a perfect double Kong, so I quit, you know, or whatever. It's like, I'm just going to do it that exact way from now on. And it's like every double Kong is slightly different for me, you know. I either run a little bit faster, I pop it really good on the first one, so I cruise it on the second one, or I got to muscle them both, or my knees are about to get jacked, I better absorb really hard and keep my hips up. So, I mean, I do fully see the speed being, I mean, I've looked at it as foolproof in the sense of a more surefire bet way of competition, you know, because obviously what's some of the oldest competitions in the sense, you know, of like
racing,
you know, whether it be a human or in a car or in animals, you know, dog racing is still massive. All that horse racing is still massive. Obviously still that. I mean, what I would like to do with speed has not been done yet. I mean, I would like, but it's risky, but I want speed that there's some real waivers being signed and some people are really going for it. They're going for real parkour in the sense of...
Yeah, there's been a couple of competitions that I've seen where like the one in China was gnarly.
Yeah,
it was just gnarly. I don't think
it
was perfect, but it was gnarly.
Yeah. Props to him. I looked at that and I said, not to toot my own horn. I've designed a lot of courses. I've designed a lot of gyms. Obviously I understand you got to work on a budget. You got to work on this. Who knows what build team you're gonna get? Do they work in metric or do they work in? You know, who knows? So props to all that. They did the best thing that you could do with that situation, and it was dope.
Yeah, for real. For that setup, it was crazy to deal with just a staircase.
And and that's what I'm always a fan of. I'm not a huge fan of these, you know, flat grass, just running one straight line.
Yeah, me either.
Not a fan of that. To me, it just doesn't get it.
I do get what you're saying about it, about having real waiver signed or some risk factor. Because, for example, in track and field, they have the steeplechase event where you're like climbing over obstacles, you jump over things, there's water hazard. Yeah. But I think there needs to be like a serious risk factor, or just more utilization of stuff where it puts you in precarious situations where you're not on the ground. Like, I don't know if you saw that clip last week. We featured on the Jam breakdown of that guy in China that was taking the high line and he slipped and just hit his face on a bar and went down.
I don't think so, no.
Oh, it was quite gnarly. Yeah, but long story short, he just went to do rail strides across the top and slipped and just faced it on the next one. I was like, okay, that's real. That's some real ass risk, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think, it's going to be tricky to pull off what I liked about. So for me, I mean, all these competitions, obviously, I've been a part of, and
you don't have to give away your secret.
No, I'm not giving it away. I'm not giving it away. But in all honesty, I want the right people to get it. But for me, where I've been having some conflict with myself, and I'm just going to be real, you know, is a lot of the competitions, we get certain sponsors and we get certain things, and I'm not allowed to do what, you know, WFPF isn't allowed to do exactly what WFPF wants to do always. You know, Robbie Corbett's not allowed to do with the comps as Robbie Corbett wants to do. There's you're working with a build team, you're working with a budget, you're working with sponsors, you're working with different things, which a lot of people don't take into consideration. So I'm very proud of all the stuff that we have done, but there's also been this tough part of competitions to where we did one and people left at one point because they said it was too hard on one of those qualifiers. And, you know, the gym manager came to me, we had a talk, and I just go, you know, and I go, well, how do you feel? Because this is your gym. Like, if you want, I'll dumb down whatever you want. Because this is your gym. You want people here, they paid, and they go, well, you know, what do you think? And I go, I'm here to push. If I wanted to play basketball with Kobe Bryant, I'm going to play with him. And I'm going to go with the idea that I'm not scoring one damn basket. But I want to play with him. You know what I mean? So now if I get the idea to set up a competition between Robbie Corbett and Kobe Bryant, I would rather it be Kobe Bryant's also getting pushed in this gameplay. Not Kobe Bryant's getting watered down, so Robbie gets to push himself. Or the bottom 50% of free runners who show up all get to progress, and the top have to don't get. I mean, they win maybe because it's easy for them. I want it to be
more of a level playing field, so then the skill differential really comes.
The skill differential, but also the best people get to show what their best honestly is, and they show up nervous, being like, I don't know if I can do this way. You know what I mean? Compared to certain people showing up being like, well, I don't know if I can climb up this wall. Well, you're at a parkour competition. What do you think we're going to be climbing up? You know what I mean? Like, try. And if you don't, you don't. Like,
or just don't hit that obstacle.
Choose take the penalty, you know. But at a certain point, I'm wanting to gear towards certain things that take that top. Why the Olympics could be good is maybe they'd be at the point to where we could finally do certain things that I think would really push the top 10% of the best. You know, and really, and that pushes the sport a lot too, in my mind, compared to pushing everybody evenly along, which we do as well, but I would like every once in a while to be able to have that this just pushes the top 10%.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool.
This breaks that ceiling that, you know, you kind of, when you, instead of going this way with the best and the bottom, you know, I would like every once in a while to maybe just be able to, you know.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I mean, the coolest thing about competitions is really just seeing who can show up on that given day in that scenario when it's the same course you're on.
And to be fair, not even competitions. You know, I remember certain times, you know, hanging out with like Ben Jenks and Ben Jenks, I just call him that, or Daniel Arroyo back in the day or some stuff, and we'd go to certain locations to train, and they would just, you know, we'd just be looking around, and they'd look at me and they'd be like, "What do you see?" And I'm like, I don't know, what do you think about, you know, and I'd say something like that, and they'd be like, "Oh, okay." And I could see like the wheels were spinning, you know, and then eventually came to a certain point to where they'd be like, "So, but what's bigger than that? What do you really see?" And it's like, "Oh, well, I mean, you know, instead of maybe jumping that, do you think you could, you know, confront it? Do you think, how about if, you know, instead of that cat grab, what about a freak nasty kind of thing, you know, and stuff?" And they'd be like, "Oh, okay." And that made me feel like I'm actually pushing the best to a degree. They didn't, you know, they would go do it, which is still crazy to me. A lot of stuff I couldn't think of something that was realistically challenging for them. But it made me think of like a coach does to their students. Like, you could have the best student, but if you still don't know how to push them, do they need you? Probably not. You know what I mean? What are you, just conditioning them and keeping them in that, you know, zone? Cool. But at the same time too, where's that push? Where's that bringing something to their eyes that they haven't seen? Where's that perspective that you're bringing to them that's higher than their perspective? Where's that motivation to grow? Stuff like that. So, I mean, I'd like to be, and I don't think I've been able to do that at all with the competitions that I've done.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And how's your body holding up right now? How long have you officially been in this sport? You know?
Well, it took a different turn being in New York for a winter where I had nowhere I had to be, so I was inside a lot more, obviously, and stuff. But no, my body's pretty good. I mean, I did 10 years of stunts out in LA as well.
Yep.
Doing literally, I would say I was a professional freerunner for the last, I'd say professional freerunner for the last 7 years. I've done anything that had to do with parkour and whatnot, as well as some stunt stuff, but it was definitely more parkour related stunt jobs. And then it's like, hey, will you also do this car hit? Will you also do this? But it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a stunt man. And I was just saying that was my main income. So it's doing well. I mean, I'm very big on rehab stuff. I'm very big on conditioning. I try to wake up and get to the, you know, the weightlifting gym every single day and do something. I'm always kind of stretching. I'm very much always in my body.
I gotta ask you, Doug.
Yeah.
How's the leg?
It's good. To what, we gotta show it or anything?
Infamous leg, yo, Sam.
Or you got it.
Go to this. Go to the second tab here. I think so. We should have it here. Third tab. Fourth tab.
Third tabbins.
Oh, I think we hit it. Here we go. No, next one.
Keep going. There it is. Oof.
Sam said, "Oh snap!"
Yeah,
and then made a face.
I still sometimes.
You haven't seen this?
No,
bro. And the craziest thing about this is we can take it off the screen now. You can hide. So
I don't have to keep looking at it.
But what's crazy about that, Sam, is that happened just around the block from the house here at the gas station.
Oh yeah.
I remember getting the call from Robbie, and what happened? Yeah, I remember. It was just like a slip accident. I just wanted to know how it's feeling right now. You don't have to relive the whole thing.
No, dude, you're not gonna believe it. It never caused me any problems.
And that's why the reason why I share this story is I'm like, dude, this guy's a professional freerunner, and look at what the hell can happen. Like, don't take moments for granted.
No, but that was it. It was definitely just a moment for granted. I wasn't training. Totally. I wasn't doing anything like that. I was literally at the gas station, and my card wasn't working, and I saw Bank of America. But this gas station, as you know, is just on a hot corner, so it's very busy because they low rates and on a busy corner. So I hopped over. There's a metal road barrier thing and a fence, like some metal road barrier. It's like this, so the cars don't hit the fence.
Oh,
I
like
just
ran,
jumped over the little guardrail, aluminum guardrail thing, and just I think I speed vaulted or something the fence, and just ran over to check my card because Bank of America. You know, what the hell's going on? I need gas. And so I ran in there, did it. They said it was fine. It was just they don't know what it was. It should work fine. I said cool. So I came out, and when I came out, I could tell somebody was mad behind me because they saw me run off. So the guy was coming out. So I was like, oh, crap. So I was jogging back. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm just going to speed. I'll just do the same thing. I'll just speed clear the the guardrail thing. Nope. I was just hopping over. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't trying to do like a cool trick. It was like, oh, just hop over. But it was because as I was hopping over and I was thinking about it, and then I was looking at the manager guy. And I slowed down a bit and I just went to hop it. But I thought, I was going to hop it and just go over it. But I like hopped and kind of came in because I'm thinking about this guy and I'm paying attention if he's watching me and seeing stuff. And it just dinged it. It just went ding.
Yeah, I was always curious how it exactly went down.
Yeah, and it went, damn, that sucked. And I just kept kind of walking. It didn't stop me or anything. It was
no, you drove yourself to the hospital.
Well, that happened because I just walked up to the guy. I go, hey, I'm sorry. I had to check the card, da-da-da-da. And the guy's like, yeah, man, no big deal if you're okay. And he keeps looking down. He's not looking in my eyes. And I'm very much, I got this great gift to just look people in the eyes. Luckily, they just think I'm being very respectful and everything. And I normally am, don't get me wrong. But I'm just trying to look at him in his eyes and apologize, and he's not looking me in the eyes. He's looking down. He's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. Yeah, he goes, "His bull's bleeding a little bit." I go, "Okay." And I look down, and there's a little bit of blood. But I had shorts on, so there's a little bit of blood by my sock, obviously going down my shin. So I lift up the shorts, but yeah, I'm fine. And when I lift up the shorts is when I saw it.
Holy shit! Did you go into shock?
I think I did. Because I just kept talking. I just go, because it didn't hurt, and I was just like, huh.
It just happened so quick.
And it's that big V, as you see. I've told people there was a shark bite, and they fully believed me.
Oh, I bet.
They've had no problem.
It looks like you took a chunk out of your shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we thought. So I'm just looking at it, and then I look at him, and he's white. He is super white, and I'm just like, because in my mind, I'm like, maybe I could just go home and I could tape it together.
Wash it out?
Yeah, I could see the bone, I could see the tendon. Nothing was bleeding.
Yeah,
nothing was super bleeding. There was some blood, but it wasn't bad. I'm like, and it doesn't hurt, But I look at his face, and I can say, I'm like, all right, I think this is bad. So then I go, hey, man, where's the nearest hospital? And he literally is just still looking at my leg, and he's white. And he's just like, he wasn't saying that, so I just, all right, I'm out. So I just hold up my short thing, and I hop to the car. I didn't get any gas. And I thought about that. I go, wait, should I get gas? Because I don't want to run out of gas. So I think I know where the hospital is. This is before Google Maps, on your phone. I think I know where the hospital is, but I'm going to run out of gas. And I'm just going through all these scenarios as I do. I'm just really hyper thinker. So fuck it. I'm just going to, it doesn't hurt. I'm just going to drive to the hospital. So I put it up on the dash and I'm driving. I get stopped at a red light and I'm like, man, maybe it doesn't, I'll take a picture. Maybe it doesn't look that bad. So I take my phone, I take a picture, and I look at the picture. I'm like, damn, that looks bad. Shit. And it wasn't that picture. I have that picture up there too somewhere.
No, there's another picture.
That's where it was very clear.
There's one on your dash that's darker, but I wanted to show that.
There's one that was very clear. Like, okay, so that's the tendon.
Your leg right there.
That's how the tendon works. That's how that bone. Okay, I get it. Toes are still wiggling. Cool. So I drove to the hospital and I'm trying to think of where to park, and the lady's like, I don't know, is it an emergency, whatever? And I just showed her my leg. I don't know, what do you think? And she's like, Jesus, yeah, I think that qualifies. And then she even goes, Sally, like, there's another boost. She's like, this guy's leg, look at it. And she was like, oh my gosh. She's like, yeah. She's like, how does he get to the emergency area to park? So then told me I parked there. I walk in, and they're like, yeah, just have a seat. I'm like, did you see my leg? And they're like, yeah, we're helping other people.
You're not old and you're not bleeding out.
All right, so I just laid there on the floor with it up. I called my girlfriend at the time to be like, hey, don't worry, because she's a big worrier. I'm like, and I think it was you I called because I wasn't going to be able to teach that night. And I called the other gym that I was teaching at to say I couldn't come. And I'm just laying there on the floor, and then this guy just shows up like 45 minutes later to be like, yeah, come on with me. I'm like, you see my leg? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you want me to walk? He's like, well, it's just going to take longer to get a wheelchair. I go, it's going to take you too long to get a wheelchair. Whatever.
This
so
is the hospital,
right? I walk. Yeah, I messed up. I told them I'm negative blood. So they took out a crap load of blood, as they do. Because, But there's actually a funnier picture on the Instagram because I'm sitting there talking to the doctor, and she's like, I'm trying to explain to her what happened. She goes, it doesn't make sense. It looks like this giant V. It doesn't make any sense. And by that time, my girlfriend was there. So she took my girlfriend out of the room, and she's like, did he his head? Does he seem woozy? Does he seem whatever? Because it just didn't make any sense. This big V's missing. And he's just saying,
she's like thinking you've lapsed on
He just sliced it. And at that point, the only thing that hurt was she's like, I got to check the tendon to see if it's cut on the back. So she rolled my tendon, and that hurt really bad. But I didn't have healthcare at the time, so I didn't want to pay anything. She was like, what about x-rays? I go, you see it, right? You see the inside, right? She's like, yeah. I go, what's an x-ray going to do? She's like, well, tell us this. I'm like, no x-rays, just... Nope, no pain medication. Let's go. Let's figure this out. So at a certain point, she's like, let me just see. I'll just I guess I'll just try to stitch it because you're not letting me do anything else. And she wasn't believing my story. She thought I was concussed and maybe did something wrong.
Yeah. Or something shady you're trying to hide or something.
Hide something shady, I guess. So, but there's a better picture on there with her with a phone to her ear while she's stitching me.
Talking, yeah.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Like, take a picture. This is hilarious. She's on the phone, you know, and I don't know what's going on. I thought it was funny until, you know, she's playing around the stitching. She figures it out. She's like, I think it's going to go back together. And what we later found out was the skin hit and hooked. So when I hit it, it was cool. It was just a little like 2 slices or whatever. Huh. But when I took my foot, my knee, my shin off, it ripped it. Blah. But it didn't, you know, mess with any of the muscle or the tendon. So it took the skin like this and then just pulled them under.
Yeah, so you just had to
and
pull
since there was blood, and it wasn't perfect. It kind of cut in certain ways to where it looked like that was the end of the skin, but it actually was like folded under.
Holy crap.
So she found, but it was, well, actually just the top. It was one big flap, but she didn't figure that out until halfway through stitching me up. And she's like, I think it's going back together. I was like, hell yeah.
Sick.
You know, she's like, you just got to make sure you do not bend your leg because this is like the most fragile skin. It's just going to be gone. I was like, no worries. I'll keep it straight. And she took the phone call. She stitched me up. She left. Somebody else comes into the room, looks around, walks away. Somebody else, she comes into the room. She looks around. She leaves. Somebody else comes in the room. Like, have you seen her coat? I'm like, the doctor? They're like, no. A small room. I'm like, I mean, you're seeing what I'm seeing, dude. And I'm still waiting while I'm still there. And then somebody else comes in with more paperwork, and they have me start signing it. And or somebody came in and took more blood. That's what it was. And then somebody came in with more paperwork, and I was like, why am I giving? You know, I asked the blood person. They're like, I don't know. They just told me to come in and take a certain amount of blood. I was like, dude, they took a lot. I'm O negative. I get the deal. You're making money. You know, he's like, no, this is for this is. I mean, if it's now, it's for different testing than whatever they did when you showed up. They wouldn't have me do the same testing twice. I was like, okay, whatever. Okay. So then I came in for the paperwork, and I was like, what's this? Because I was reading it, and they're like, well, got some bad news. The doctor cut herself while stitching you, and she bled into you unknowingly.
What?
And I was like, well, that's probably because she was on the phone. And they're like, what? I go, it's probably because she was on the phone. And I go, okay, so why am I signing this, and what are we doing now? They're like, well,
I didn't know this part of the story.
Yeah. I don't tell many people because it was a scary one. Because I just thought I got the jackpot. You know, I thought
now
I
the world knows.
Yeah. I thought, I'm not gonna say the hospital or the doctor or whatever. I mean, she's in there. It's not tagged or nothing.
Look what we bring you, JAMCast fans.
Yeah. So they go, well, we got to test you for HIV because it turns out she hasn't been tested for any of those tests that they're supposed to do every 3 months. She hasn't been tested in over 9 months.
I would be.
So I went into the hospital thinking I might not ever walk again. I find out it's just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna have to pay. I'm not gonna have to pay a lot of money because I said no X-rays, no medication. And I'm like, dude, I'm a boss, dude. No medication. Like, dude, I'm still tough, you know. And then it's like, so wait, I showed up with a flesh wound. I might be leaving with HIV.
Just on a roller coaster.
I was like, Jesus, like, what are you doing to me today, man?
And they can give you those results right away, right?
No, I had to wait 48 hours and come back.
It's the worst ever.
Yeah, I had to wait 48 hours and come back, and turned out, luckily, it turned out negative.
I was telling someone that the other day, like, you don't want to, the worst part of your life is waiting for MRI results or STD results.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, STD results that you've gone and had fun and had some memories.
It's different. Like, yours is even crazier because it could be affected by someone else.
Yeah, at that point, I was not very, there was no other reason HIV should have been in me, you know, at all. So it was pretty crazy. And, you know, I obviously had the picture with her on the phone. So when I sent that into the hospital and all that, of course, the bill was, hey, it was going to be $12,000, but we want you, you know, we'll just rest up your leg, you know, And I obviously didn't know any better. And it turned out to be negative, but you know, part of it, somebody was chirping in my ear saying, you should get a lawyer. You can make real money. And I'm like, it was an honest mistake. I don't have HIV. If I had HIV, there'd be a wing in that hospital dedicated to curing HIV. Yeah,
Robbie Corbett.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It'd be different. So
damn.
Yeah. So that knee injury was more.
Dude, I'm so glad I asked about this story, bro. I mean, I'm sick to my stomach right now, but like, I didn't know this part of the story.
Yeah, I forget about it because it's every once in a while at the gym, somebody comes up and like, yo, I tore my MCL, my ACL. I was out for this long because of football, blah, blah, blah. And they show me this little scar, and they're like, what the fuck did you do? Because they pointed my scar. I'm like, man, I walked in and I walked out.
Yeah, dude, it's so crazy. Life is a crazy, crazy thing. Well, it's good to hear that your body's still holding up and stuff like that because we're both getting up there. Are you still training for fun? You still training at all?
Yeah, I mean, I still run a lot of the certifications. I still train. I mean, when I started parkour, I didn't know, wasn't a word. I wanted to do gymnastics, but there was no gymnastics around me. no, and that's all I knew. I mean, I'm 33 now, so I was young, and it was in a small town, and nobody else. There was no gymnastics, there was no flipping, there was none of that stuff. So I just self-taught, and I never filmed it because filming it was getting out some camera and then you have it on this little tape, and it looked like crap anyways. And I just felt it. I just felt it. It wasn't until I moved to LA when everybody's like, you need a demo reel, you need to do this, you need to watch your shit back so you get better, so you can fix it for the shot or so. I don't really like filming myself doing anything. I like going illegal roof missions, which obviously I don't film. I like going into places that I'm trespassing in theory. You know, I'm not doing anything illegal in my mind. I'm just training.
Yeah, you're just exploring.
And I would never sue anybody. I've had many conversations with that where like, well, you could sue us. I'm like, dude, I don't expect you to trust me on that, but I'm not going to do that. Like just certain stuff. So I normally am not that get out the camera, I'm doing this for the Instagram. I never really have been. When I got into film, it's because I like to watch film, movies. I'm just a big movie buff. I never wanted, when I finally saw myself on the big screen, the first thing I started doing was saying, man, I look terrible. Or, I get why actors are like, I don't watch my movie. I just feel out the takes I like, and they pick the ones, and I don't watch it. Dude. And once I saw myself on a 70-foot screen, and I realized everybody can see me right now in the world that's watching this, yeah, I don't want to watch this. I would have changed some things,
Totally.
So I'm not big at filming it or whatever. So I understand why people are like, you still train? It's like, I train every day to some degree. Point, and I've always been more trained for myself. I'll film people. I'll film just so people are aware, but I've always been like to just a feeling more than a video or whatever. Because I'm a hard critic on myself. I'm the hardest critic on myself.
Yeah, so I hate watching hosting stuff on myself. I absolutely hate watching Red Bull's back, but I have to in order to improve.
You're in that field. Yeah, that's why luckily I get other people to host. I get other people. I mean, because if you've seen me at the comps, there's no way I could be also in front of the camera. Because there's so much stuff buzzing on in my head, and I'm thinking 20 steps ahead, and I'm thinking of this and that with course design to competitors to how the prizes work, how we're going to film it. What the vibe should maybe be that you're saying or what he's doing,
At one point, I know you were training really, really hard back when we were in LA. And at one point, Sam, can you click the one that's before the YouTube one?
Do you know how hard this is to watch this stuff? I didn't know we were going to be doing this.
Go to the right to the second to last one. There we go. So at one point, go to the next one. At one point, you had a Guinness World Record.
I would still say we do. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, have you seen the new ones? Have you seen the ones where the little Asian schools do the same one?
I almost got banned from Instagram for my comment for that.
No way.
Greg Trampoline dude. Yeah.
Okay, but this was a world record that you had, I guess, achieved with some buddies.
I got a phone call at like 8:30 in the morning on a Monday saying, hey, we're Guinness World Record. You want to break a record? And I was like, fuck yeah, what are we doing? They're like, come to Santa Monica. You're going to be front flipping off a mini tramp. And I was like, dude, if it's the furthest, biggest front flip off a mini tramp, I'm about to be a Guinness World fucking record holder. Like, who else are they calling on a Monday morning?
Yeah, that's free
at 8:30. That's just going down to Santa Monica. And this was quite a few years ago. I wasn't about to start preaching it. Hey, let me go bring some friends along. Fuck that. This time, I'm going to win. It's Guinness. So I show up and there's like 30 people. And I knew some of them, and some you look familiar, and da-da. And there's like, cool. So we're so stoked to have you guys here as a team, and we're gonna break this Guinness World Record. I'm like, what the fuck we doing? and then they showed us, because I guess a Russian team did it. They were the first to do it.
No way.
They designed it, brought it to Guinness, and then achieved it. And now this was part of their reality show thing towards, can you break a Guinness World Record or whatever it was. And I was like, okay. So we're sitting there just talking about it and strategizing, and I knew probably half the people. And I was like, well, he'd be good like this, he'd be good like that. He can't front flip that well. Let's get him out of the way first so people can spot him, because at a certain point,
you're not doing a full front flip.
You're not doing a full front flip, but you also don't want to be landing on those people. So it's basically hit that mini tramp, and this is us testing it. They only gave us 2 hours out in the hot sun over this concrete to first introduce ourselves, say what we're doing, and then do it before we had to go film it. And you only get one chance once you film it. So a lot of us there didn't even know if anybody could do a front flip. They said they could, but it's like, show me, man. Before we get on a 3-foot by 3-foot platform over concrete, and I'm on top of this thing too. Like, let's think about how we stack underneath, how we, build this pyramid, So that's the picture I got, because once we went in, there was no pictures allowed. As you can see, they had a massive budget. We are by the bathrooms and the and the trash. Luckily, they did very well with
at least our panel.
I don't even know what they did to test the thing that we were all front flipping on as far as payload, because at a certain point, I think we got up to like 23 full-size humans on that thing.
Wow. I was just gonna ask
holding each other, stacked on each other, like cramming each other in between, others' legs to make space.
And so all you have to do is get go off the mini tramp, land in the
Hips
pile,
have
and
to
then
go
you can
overhead.
stand.
Hips have to go overhead. Yeah.
And then you can just stay anywhere on the stand.
You have to stay anywhere on there. Yeah, yeah. So
and you have to be standing though, right? Or can you can be on people's shoulders and stuff like that, yeah.
So how I worked, when I landed there was only 3 people that were supposed to go after me because they were bigger than me, and they were tall enough that we felt. So when they came, I just lay there, and all I see the next guy flips, and I literally catch him so he doesn't roll off.
Yeah,
and then the next guy flips, and I catch him, and I put him to my side, and then the last guy did it like pretty much over the top of us, because at that point, then it was just a bonus after that. I think I was the one that was breaking the record.
Okay. So then the guys
that beat the last one, and the guys after us were setting the record. And then after that, we were just like, if it happens, it happens. So we went in. So I'm trying to think what happened. So we went in, we did it. Everybody got up on there. We got everybody. Yeah. And then we literally counted. We said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, yes. And then we all got down.
Nice.
But then they dropped some stipulations saying, oh no, you were supposed to, it was within 60 seconds. We're like, yeah, we were done in 50 something seconds. Like, no. You have to go past 60 seconds too or something. You have to be on the platform for longer than 60 seconds. We're like, what? So they did playback. I don't remember the episode. I didn't watch it. Not to discredit it. I haven't had cable in like 15 years. But so they played it to where it's like we all got up, and then they started counting till people hit the ground. And those people were now out. So they got to the minute mark, and we still had like 2 people or something, so we broke the record.
Okay.
But we were about to...
Damn.
They're about to have 20-something people about to get... Yeah, it was about to get rowdy.
Pull up the YouTube one. That one.
No, so this is what...
This is what I saw.
Why I got in trouble was I was like...
Go ahead and play it, Sam. Go ahead and play it.
Yeah, most people... I mean, I don't know I said I don't know if we know the definition of people.
Are you referring to size,
I didn't mean race. I meant age and size. Like, totally. Get out of here.
Yeah, because obviously when I watched this, I was like, these are little kids.
Of course you're going to fit more of them on a 3 foot by 3 foot platform. I was so tempted to go find the shortest people on earth and just go break the record with just me and the shortest people. Yeah,
because not going to lie, too, it looks like they practice all the time.
We didn't even know each other.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. It's really funny to me, though.
This is ridiculous, yeah.
But it is a cool Guinness World Record because it's so many variables.
I still say I have it. Yeah.
It's really cool. Like, you got to front flip, you got to land, you got to make sure you don't hit each other's heads.
Yeah, I want to do it with like Gainer Foles next, though, or something.
Right?
They fully choreographed this.
Oh, they had.
Oh, they practice. They practice. Like, look at the low. They have tiers.
Dude, some of those aren't even like.
They do tiers.
Yeah, they're tiny. That trampoline looks massive,
and they're helping them get over. But yeah, look at the tiers. They played it smart, bro. But
I got a wake up call. I did a 45-minget drive, and we had less than an hour to figure out what we were doing and then do it.
You got to give them something over there. You know what I'm saying?
Nope. They get nothing from me.
Oh,
nothing.
It's so funny. Yo, Sam, click the next picture. Click the next slide. You can close that one out. Well, those kids may have a world record, but have they met David Bell? Dude, this is one of the coolest moments of my life, and I wanted to bring this up just to kind of bring it all full circle with you. And this was a moment, 2014 at JAM, nonetheless.
Yeah.
And funny enough, it was March 25th, 2014, where we actually got to meet David Bell, modern-day founder of Parkour, at our gym that we trained at. Yeah. And it was such a surreal moment, dude.
Yeah, I remember, like, building that gym, like, showing up, and there was, like, bullet holes in the bulletproof glass because it used to be a bank.
It was crazy. People don't know what JAM was like before we changed it over. It's insane. It was a bank. It was a motor part store.
Yeah.
It was
and it all started with the White Lotus, which I remember unloading the spring floor from the truck into your house, your parents' house, because the gym wasn't ready yet.
Oh, yeah.
So to come from that to David Bell's there doing a job, everything it's been to being on this podcast, it's kind of named after it and everything. It's crazy. Yeah.
It's so surreal, man, to just think that, almost over 10 years ago, we all moved back to this city in LA and met at open gyms and went on our own little parkour journeys and stuff. And it's crazy, man. You're now co-owner of the WFPF, and
I forget sometimes how crazy it is. Yeah, because you just get caught up in it. All the maybe works of things and all that stuff, and you just kind of forget the stepping stones. I mean, I appreciate you bringing this up because I'd forget all the time.
Yeah,
this kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too. I feel like we do so many things in our life nowadays that's just nonstop packed. You know what I'm saying? Like even Sam, who's running the cameras today, is over here on his phone producing a commercial behind the scenes. And it's like life is just so nonstop that like, yeah, sometimes we forget to reflect upon like cool moments like this. And it's a moment that I'll never ever forget, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a great one. No, I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, that was dope. I remember, I think I saw him like a few days before at your gym. And I think I remember calling you and being like, yo, is fucking David Bell in the gym and you didn't tell me? Like, and you're like,
I had no idea.
You're like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I was like, Trav, I know I'm not the best at keeping shit under the hat. I know. But like, just tell me. And you're like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'll see what, what's up or whatever. And then I think at a certain point, you're just like, yo, you should roll by Jam at this time. Me and Ben will be there. And you didn't tell me exactly why, because you're just because you were also talking to a coordinator and you're, trying to be professional and you're like, I don't know if it's happening. I was like, dude, I'll fucking be there whenever you want.
Gotta come,
yeah. No, I mean,
it's so crazy, man. And we got that picture. No, it's just cool to see where you came from and where you're going, man. So really quick, last thing I want to talk about is, can you pull up the first tab, Sam? And this is something that you guys were both involved in, and I just want to talk about it. $1 Million Mile is a show that just premiered on CBS, and I know that you, Sam, WFPF had a huge part in this. And what was your guys' role in producing this show, or I guess not producing, but being a part of it?
Yeah, definitely not producer, nothing like that. But it was kind of all to Sam. He heads up what's called Rough Magic, which is our production side of WFPF and things like that. And he got the email in and they were looking for, they had a dope concept and they wanted some crazy athletes, is I believe what they said, that could just, they said like, think the Running Man mixed with the craziest CrossFit and obstacle course racing, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it was more Sam than anything, just really putting, because he's just got this reach of friends and connections on Instagram, just always introducing himself to people and always connecting and stuff. And he just was throwing people together. And then he asked me to come in too when we did more of the the gauntlet style training. So we had the clipboards with like giving everybody the scores and then seeing like, okay, so you did the quid steps like that. Do you think you could do it this way? So like Sam would do certain different ways of doing the quid steps that were harder, and so would I, to showcase it to him and see that if they could do it. So we could write notes to be like, cool, this one would be a good runner, this one would be a good chaser, this one.
So you guys acted as like consultants in the professional realm of like
somewhat on the physical ability and stuff. They had the obstacles already kind of,
and they're clearly taking parkour expertise into account.
But it was also just all around athletes, because I was like on America's Got Talent, and then we've done all these competitions to where different athletes have come out. So, and Sam's worked with different people all across for all different kinds of gigs and stuff like that. So like we've worked with break dancers, we've worked with obstacle course specific people, ninja warrior people, stunt people, just so it's normally like for this, what they kind of wanted was people that had a niche but we're well-rounded, because once again, they got to run a mile and do rock climbing, swimming, parkour essence stuff, but they're also, the thing that brought the parkour the most was, well, whatever obstacle you bring, they're not going to be afraid of it. To where a contestant was probably going to be afraid of some of this stuff. Totally. No parkour athlete, they might not, be somebody that trains that thing hardcore or whatever, but I highly doubt they're going to show up and have any fear, so they're going to be able to probably tackle it faster.
That makes sense.
So that was kind of the big thing. I mean, obviously we ran into some problems when we found out certain parkour people can't swim or can't run distance. But when it came to the obstacles and it came to figuring different ways to push them, so we could really get a good grading system on who should be who should get a 2-minute head start on this course and not walk away with $1 million because the person chasing them just can't do it. So it was kind of helping develop that.
Okay. That's super cool, man. It's just really cool to just see projects on the big stage that all of our friends are involved in. So, is there anything else that people should be on the lookout from you or WFPF in the immediate future, or anything on the timeline for 2019 that we should be looking out for?
I mean, it's crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on in the kitchen, but it's other parties and things like that have to finalize and approve. But yeah, we have certifications. We should have about 3 locked in the U.S. all across. Happening sometime in summer. So those dates will be up on the WFPF.com/certifications. Okay, that's where that's all posted up. We have the big UK tour, which is happening first. So it's 3 stops there, and then Portugal is what we're in talks to try to combo off that.
Awesome.
We have cert happening in Winnipeg, Canada, so that'll be our first time there, which we've already done Calgary, BC, and Edmonton. So we're trying to do that. I think we have a competition set up at Fly Free in Edmonton as well. Cool. It's going to be happening over there. The equipment sales, things like that are always going, and just progressing, creating new opportunities and growth for the sport.
Hell yeah, man. Well, We'll have to have you back whenever there's something big that you're going to promote or something coming out in the near future, or anytime you need to escape the New York winters. Feel free.
Yeah, just anytime. This is fun.
No, I appreciate it, man. Real quick, looking at that camera, Robbie, can you tell everyone what your socials are so they can follow you online?
You want a social security number?
Yeah, no, your socials. Look straight to that camera. Shout out your Instagram.
Hey, I'm Robbie Corbett. Instagram is the Robbie Corbett. Parkour certification Instagram, as well as parkour equipment. Facebook, Robbie Corbett. YouTube, I don't do too much on there.
And what's
educate myself, but that's Robbie Corbett.
And what's the account for WFPF? Is it the WFPF?
The WFPF is the Instagram, and Facebook is WFPF.
Dope, man. Well, thanks for coming through, Robbie. We'll
thanks for having me
back in the near future. With that being said, guys, thanks for joining us here on another episode of the JAMCast. I hope you guys enjoyed this talk with Robbie and all of the guests we've had this far. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as always. Be sure to join us every Monday for brand new Jam breakdowns where we look at the top clips throughout the movement world, and then join us every Friday for brand new JAMCast episodes just like this, interviewing influential members of the movement world and beyond as well. Special shout out to SamParham filling in for us today on the Camera Switcher app. And a very special thank you to our guest for today, Mr. Robbie Corbett.
Thanks for having me, man.
As always, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon.
Adios.
Peace.